Hello and welcome to this week's Angel Oracle card reading for week commencing the 17th of September 2018. Thank you so much for joining me here this week. I apologise in advance for any nasally situation going on. I have been full of flu, but we're going to get through it, and hopefully I don't sneeze or splutter too much in this reading, but we'll shield that. Usually how we do our readings is we pull our three cards, and they are the energies that are working with the majority of us for that week. Obviously, it is a general reading because for us to get a flavour of what's going on in our individual circumstance, we'd really have to book a private reading, which you can do, and I'll leave that information in the description box down below this video if you would like. But instead of pulling the three cards and then going through them, this week we're going to try something different, and we'll see how it pans out for future weeks, but we're still going to pull three cards. Card 1, card 2 and card 3. And I want you to think of which number you are drawn to. Now, you may already have that number in mind, but as I'm shuffling the cards, just think, are you drawn to the number 1, are you drawn to the number 2, or are you drawn to the number 3? And the way in which we do that, it just means that that card is the card that's resonating with you most for this week. The other two cards in the spread may also have relevance, but it's just that the number that you're drawn to really is the card that's got the greatest message, if you like, for you. So that's what we're going to try out. So we are still going to pull our three cards. So card 1, card 2, and our third and final card, card 3. So I hope that you hit that number in your head, cleared your mind, and we'll go forwards into the reading now. So if you were drawn to card 1, the card is Journey. We have this female, although if you're male watching this, this represents you as well. We have this person who is crossing this bridge, and she has two bags. She has quite a heavy suitcase, a smaller bag, and a lantern. And in the distance is this light, this signpost, and there's all these different directions coming off it. And the person is really deciding where they're going, but they do have this baggage. And we all have our baggage, even those of us that say we don't, we do, because we've all got life experiences, some marvellous and wonderful joyous things, some heavy things, some destructive things, some upsetting things and hurtful things. We all have this array of feeling and emotion because we're human beings, and all these different things help us to grow, learn, expand, and ultimately feed our soul, but it can be hard. And so if you were drawn to card number 1, it's almost like we're facing a journey. This could be a literal journey. It could be that we're going on a vacation and we learn something very deep about ourselves on that vacation. It could be that we're moving to a new location, starting over again in a new place, and that can be exciting and joyous, but it can also bring up a bit of trepidation within us. But this card is saying that it's a good thing. It's a good thing to move forward. So if we are planning a holiday, we are planning to move, then that does seem like it would be good for our growth. But it could be this sort of metaphorical journey that we're going through within ourselves, looking at our flaws, perhaps magnifying them a little closer. We could be reaching out to a spiritual mentor, a counselor even, or maybe even reading some books or watching videos online about personal development and how we can shape and shift and change ourselves. Because we're going through this period of almost like shedding the old and walking through the new. And with that, some things are going to come up that may upset us. So if we do have support or people we feel we can talk to around us, then it would be a good time to share with them the journey that we're going through. But if you were drawn to card number 1, there is definitely a momentous change happening within that's going to take us to a new way of being. If you were drawn to card number 2, we have door to value. Interesting. We have these huge red doors opening up, and all these money and coins are flowing through. There's also flowers, and looks like some sort of temple or castle in the distance. In a literal sense, if we have a business, or even if we are not self-employed, are we being paid correctly for our job? Are we doing work that we're worth? Or are we underselling ourselves or shortchanging ourselves? So in a literal sense, it could be that we want to ask for a pay rise, or perhaps move to a job that fulfills us financially. It could be that simple if we're drawn to card number 2. It could also be, though, that we are really being asked to value ourselves more. If we have this low self-esteem at the moment, we may be confident, we may feel confident in some ways, but have we got low self-esteem? Those two things are not sort of always synonymous with each other. It could be that we appear to be confident to other people, but what is going on inside? Are we in a relationship that we don't feel valued in, that we don't feel respected in? This doesn't just have to be a romantic relationship. It could be to do with our family or even friends. Do we feel respected? Do we feel cherished? We're being asked, if we're drawn to card 2, to really learn to value ourselves. So a little like card 1, it's a bit of a theme going on here, that maybe do some learning, maybe do some learn some techniques about how we can learn to value ourselves more. Maybe tapping techniques, or affirmations, or meditating daily, praying. Just learning to love ourselves for who we are right now. We may have a goal in mind to change our fitness, change our career, our status in some way. But it starts with loving ourselves at who we are at that beginning point, and that makes the journey so much easier. So, door to value is card 2. And the third and final card, if you were drawn to card 3, is all tied up. We have this woman who's tied up with these vines from this tree. Wow, all tied up. We're in a situation that perhaps we don't want to be in. Or are we making a prison out of our own mind? Are we stopping ourselves doing something? For example, are we saying to ourselves, I'd love to get to B, but I can't because of A? Or I don't know how to get to a... It's almost like we need to break down into small steps. This is what I'm getting if you were drawn to card 3. We need to break down into small steps about how we're going to change and how we're going to grow. It's not... We've got to not see it as this big, overwhelming task. It's more baby steps. If we're feeling trapped, we have to try and cut ourselves out of it, basically. But if we think of it as this big task, it's going to become overwhelming, and we may find ourselves stuck harder. It's almost like if we're in sinking sand, the harder we fight, the quicker we get dragged down. We don't need that. What we need to do is break up our obstacles into small, manageable pieces. So if we feel like our career isn't going right, our relationships aren't going right, multiple things in our life are chaotic, let's just focus on those little things. So it's our finances, and this isn't financial advice, by the way, but if it is our finances, then we think, okay, well, I'm going to tackle that on Monday and Tuesday. If it is our friendships, well, I'm going to reach out to my friends on Wednesday and Thursday. You know, it could be as simple as that, but are we in a prison of our own making? A bit like the 8 of Swords in Tarot, where we're kind of surrounded by these obstacles, but there is a gap, there is a way out, but we're blindfolded, we're blinded to it. It's about finding that gap and making our escape through it, and not letting the vines hold us in tightly. So if we look at this as our whole spread now, for all of us, we're on this journey of self-discovery, leaving baggage behind and seeking extra knowledge to help us do that. Learning how to value ourselves more and cherish ourselves and treasure ourselves, and not feeling like the victim of our own lives, but feeling like we can flourish through any obstacle, and we can navigate our way through. We don't have to do it alone. We don't have to be codependent with people, but we don't have to be completely independent. We are interdependent human beings. We do all rely on each other in some way or other. I know some people would disagree with that, but we just do. We can't do everything on our own. So really, if you were drawn to card 3 especially, don't take all the burdens of the world on your own shoulders, basically. Let other people in to help. So I hope that this reading has served you. Let me know what you think about the new sort of way of doing it. And I hope that you have an amazing week. I'm so grateful for you joining me each week. It really does mean a great deal to me. And I'd be so thrilled if you liked, commented, or even subscribed to this channel. Until we speak again next week, I'm sending you so much love and many, many blessings. Lots of love, Alyssa.